we're talking football right now. Good morning. What's going on?
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you guys doing this morning?
Fine, thanks.
Good. I just want you to introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about what we're doing today.
Well, I'm Jelani Glean. I'm here representing the GFA, and we're here this morning to present to you some of our uniforms, our football replicas of the national football team, as well as to chat a little about football 2012 and what's going on with the GFA and what we can look forward to this season.
Nice. And you, sir?
I'm Anthony Modeste. I'm a.k.a. Nixon, former captain, player of the Grenada national team, aspiring coach.
Nice.
All right, so I see you have some nice uniforms here. You know what? I mean, I like the idea. You know, we go out and we buy the Barcelona shirts, the Real Madrid, you know, the Manchester United. I like to go down the road and say, all right, I'm gonna get a Grenada shirt and wear it. You know what I mean? So tell us, what's behind this uniform drive here?
Well, part of the uniform drive basically is just one part of the effort of the GFA to rebrand the football here in Grenada. We've seen over the last few years, at least over Nixon's career, I'm sure you can testify to that, that there has really been a decline in the community's, you know, appreciation of not just the game of football, but the GFA's management of local football. And as such, we've decided to make an effort to rebrand. And going forward, we thought that it would have worked well to have the local replicas that persons can use to come out to the international games. We recognize that in the last few years, the teams have been doing really well. And as such, we would have the replicas so persons can come out to support the teams. When you look at Trinidad playing, you look at Jamaica playing, the entire stadium is filled with the colors. You look at Grenada playing, there's a lot of jeans and white t-shirts and so on and so forth.
Flag in the hand. We had a flag in the hand at least.
So where can persons get these?
Well, currently they're being distributed island-wide at local retailers. Right here at the Bruce Street Mall, there's a gentleman at True Colors. You can get that there. Seasons Fashions, the Spiceland Mall, Grenville. So there is at least one distributor per parish in the town. Nice. You can have them, and they all have the t-shirts on display. We have 3 uniforms here out of the 5 in total that we have. The other 2 are training uniforms. This one is the home national uniform. This one would be the away national. Yep,
road kit.
And we have this one that everybody loves to call the spider uniform, which is one of the favorites.
Okay,
and
nice.
that is used mainly by the females.
Okay.
And it's also used by the coaches that assist in local programs and so forth.
You want to show them the back of
Yes,
this one.
and the
so
back
make
says
sure.
Grenada.
Just in case they forget who you're representing.
And with the colors, of course, don't give it away.
And we really like that because the only difference between these uniforms and the actual plain uniform is that the others would have the numbers at the back and possibly the player's surname. And that's it. So you're getting an authentic uniform. The local price was $125 because it's independence and we're supporting that, and the drive is on right now. We dropped that price to $80, so you can get that price locally at $80. That's a big cut. $45 cut. You understand? So it is economic at times. We understand that. We appreciate that. And to add a little flavor to it, we have an international game that has been approved. That's going to be playing in the month of February 22nd. Grenada would be playing Guyana right here, so in Grenada. So we are fortunate to really have these to give to our fans and, you know, have them purchase and really start building that new face of football here in Grenada.
I'm so glad to hear you. Like every person related to football that came on the show asking, when is the next game? When is the next game? Nobody can answer. But finally we have an answer. February the 22nd, Grenada versus Guyana. So people need to go out and get some shirts, wear it in the stand, let them see who we're representing. Absolutely. And one thing you forgot to point out is not just shirts alone, but you had a full kit, right? You had the shorts as well. You know, if you really want to look like a footballer, and of course you see the Grenada flag and the GFA logo right here. You know, on both the shirts and the shorts as well. So great
This would
stuff.
be good also for nationals away, you know, people who want to support.
Definitely.
Actually, currently, most of the kits are currently being purchased by foreign nationals. They've been sending online asking how they can purchase them, how they can get them, because we really do have a large following. As sure Nixon again could testify, going to the Gold Cup, playing qualifying rounds against the US, that we've had a lot of Grenadian support out there in the US, probably even more than what we had at home. You know, so the diaspora out there is really supporting, and we appreciate that. But at the moment, our focus is on at home. We need to build at home before we can go abroad, and we want to see the local supporters come out and really, you know, get on board and help support the GFA.
All right, so that's great stuff. So tell me, y'all here to talk about other events and so on that happen in Grenada. From what I understand, there's a parish competition.
Yep.
Tell me about that.
Well, the GFA is trying to form a semi-professional league, and they think going the parish route is the right way. Well, as we know, our different parishes, unfortunately, Carriacou wouldn't be taking part this year. They'll more or less be an observer, and hopefully next year, as God's willing, they will be involved. But presently, all the teams are in training. The parish league will start on the 10th of March, and me being part of the coaching staff for St. George's, our players are very enthusiastic about the whole idea about going out there and performing. It's also an opportunity where players can be selected for the national team. And I know the rest of parishes are doing their best. I have friends from other parishes, and everyone is saying they will win. So you know for sure it will be very competitive.
That's good. How many matches are you gonna have in this competition?
They're looking at a round robin basis.
Okay. So
does everybody get to play everybody?
Everybody.
Okay. Nice.
Home and away.
So have we had a parish competition before?
Well, I think a few years back.
Once,
yeah, they had it, and I think it's a good thing the GFA is trying to revive the whole idea of parish football.
I was just wondering, you know, because my question was going to be, if you had one last year, how was it last year? But my question is why you think they discontinued it back then? You know, but it wasn't as successful as it should have been.
No. I think part of that, responsibility, you know, with the transference of powers from one administration to the next. As with government, there is sometimes a lack of transference of programs going forward. However, I must say as well, the local sponsorship for the local football is in a horrid state at the moment. And personally speaking, I cannot refute the business community for holding back a little. We've had instances where we hadn't had competitions finish and so on, and it does not do good for the brand representation of the sponsor. However, with the GFA at this moment, the current administration would like to look at this as something of the past. For example, they themselves had enjoyed that sort of thing where year before we had problems, you know, completing a season, and last year everybody was, you know, very skeptical as to what will transpire for the season, and Nixon could testify, I can testify that everybody had to play the catch-up game because the season was going ahead full speed. There were no hiccups at all in the season, and everybody had realized they had to make that special effort to go into the, you know, to win the championships. And now we have the parish tournament coming in as soon as that is finished, and now as soon as that parish tournament is going to begin on the 10th of March. And it's going to run for about 6 weeks. As soon as that concludes, we're going to go back into the regular GFA season. So now we're moving away from having football being played, that seasonal sport once a year for 6 to 8 months, and then we off for a long period again. We're getting that rollover of games, and hopefully we can bring it to the youth level as well, so that we can have that system whereby players can come up, there's competitions for them, and move forward.
Now, one of the things that is going to affect sponsorship and so on is how many people are actually interested and involved in it, and I'm talking about the general public and so on. What is the GFA doing to get more people involved in football in general this year?
Well, the GFA have a number of things planned, but I must point out here that the GFA operates from different rules for example, the Wagiti tournament, which has a level of entertainment, with sports entertainment that we haven't seen here in Grenada before. And you look at the support that tournament receives, it's splendid. The GFA cannot do that because of the rules and regulations of FIFA. At a GFA game, the entertainment is the football. It's supposed to be the football. So what we have to focus on here right now is the development of the football. And as such, we have, as I say, these different tournaments that we're going to put on to develop the football. We're looking at youth programs being initiated this year. There's a grassroots program which has been on since last year. I know the FA is looking into doing clinics at different parishes and so on, having institutions there, permanent ones, where young persons can get training and so forth. We're also looking at, we have the venues here available. This is one thing we're blessed here in Grenada. Venues all over, so the spreading of the football. We're also looking at changing the marketing approach to the way the game comes across. This year I think has been, because again, as I said, because of the resilience persons had to the tournament being completed, you found that this year a lot of big games were played and persons really turned out. The support was not there. You have a Rangers GBSS game, Point, this other teams, big name teams, and you expect to go out and find the recreation field, and it's not. Part of that being you get the results of the game and not the schedule of the game.
Right.
So you know when the game was played, but you don't know when the game is played. So we're looking at transferring that. I'm also hoping with the advent of the lights, we've seen that there are a lot of more night tournaments in every field where the lights have been instituted. There are more lighted fields to come on this year. So we're hoping that probably we could get the games a little later to do some of the night games, because that is going to help with persons finishing work 4:35 o'clock. You get a chance to refresh yourself, whatever, and come out and support a game. So things like that we're looking to get into. As I said, the branding of the game is going to be wonderful. We're going to have probably do billboards of players and so on, because if you ask the ordinary Grenadian now to point out 3 or 4 players on the national team, I'm certain most persons are still going to say Nixon.
Right. So I heard a lot about youth and so on, trying to get youth and so on involved. Just to bring it to these, do we have any of these for children?
Of course. Football is a beautiful game, and it starts with the children. And that is where it is. I know for certain this year there's going to be a community approach to getting young kids, and not just the boys, but mainly the girls involved in the sport. I mean, FIFA does provide funding to support the development of women's football. I am personally pleased with the level of the.
Did you see that?
She's a prime candidate.
Prime candidate.
FIFA does provide funding for the development of women's football, and you don't just get adult women to turn into footballers all of a sudden, but they get comfortable with the ball at a young age and they grow into it, and so on and so forth. So we're looking forward to that.
You see, I'm on your side here. I'm trying to encourage women to play football, right here. All right, so Grenada football player. You're on the Grenada team? Let the people actually know. Are you on the Grenada team?
No, I'm not.
All right, so tell us a little story about yourself. Give us a little background, about you on the Grenada team.
Well, I started playing for Grenada internationally at age 15. I played 20 years of football for Grenada national team.
15.
Yeah, I captained for 12 years. I've spent 8 years in Jamaica playing professionally, which I captained for 6 years. And presently I'm the coach of the new GBSS Premier Division team, the Westmoreland Secondary School, and now it's the St. George's Parish team.
Okay.
In 09, I was player coach of the Grenada national team, where we got our first berth into the Gold Cup, placing second to Jamaica. Getting the highest ranking ever in Grenada history, and a feat I'm really proud of.
Right.
Nice, congratulations. He said he's captain all the way in Jamaica, that is really good.
Good credentials right there once again. So what's it been like, the transition from player to practically administrative?
Well, for me, I think it was rather easy, because fortunately for me, I think I was born with some sort of leadership qualities. And in my growing up, my father played a part, Ashley Ram folks played a part, Mr. Victor Ashby played a part in my upbringing as a person. And since I've been in school, I've always played and coached per se on teams. So it was rather easy transition. As being a player also, the players that surrounded me, they showed a lot of respect to me, to my ability, and everything I say, for some reason, they did follow. So it was an easy transition.
Right. Nice. Not too long ago, I got Mr. from the GFA.
Lester Smith.
Yeah, sorry. He was here, and I think we were talking about the possibility of turning football in Grenada into one of these full-time jobs. They could do football full-time, that could be your bread and butter. That could be your way of life. What do you think about that, and how far in the future is that?
I think it's a good thing. It will definitely bring Grenada football to a different level. For instance, in my experience in Jamaica, the players over there don't do anything but football. So you know, you go home, you get your rest, and it's football. You don't have to worry about going to work, coming from work, reaching training late or anything. Even with the national program, they have days when they will come say, let's have a weekend camp on a regular basis, and you keep the players together. I think if we can embed that in Grenada, we'll go further. Now, also what I think can happen with our national team that will bring us to another level is our players getting the exposure on the international market, in the Europe, in wherever. Because the Trinidad, the Jamaica, that's the thing they have on us. Pound for pound, as players, talented players, they're not better than us, but the exposure they have, playing every day, playing week in, week out, is a thing they have going for them.
They get a touch more experience than us, and that makes all of the difference.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so, well, we had to try from young coming right up, you know. I see you all doing a thing, trying to get the grassroots programs in, you know. So like a couple of these t-shirts for the kids, like them feel like some ballers, and then they'll start balling for real.
I think it's important right now to have, you know, the young kids in particular getting into the football, having persons to look up to. I think currently the player most persons look up to is still Nixon, even though he's retired from the game. And you know, and it's fantastic that we can have players such as himself contributing back to the game. The present president of the GFA is a former national player, Mr. Chenny Joseph. You know, so it's important to have players who would have gone through the system and would have attained a level of success to contribute again, to have players gain even further success. Now look, we have Clive Murray, who is now gone to Thailand to play semi-professional football. We expect some form of contribution back to him here because we need to get more of our players out there. Personally, I think that we've reached to a point where it's either we're going to stay where we are or we can do what it takes to make that transgression into a higher level and get into the top 50 footballing nations in the world. And all it takes is a proper investment in the football. Investment in youth football, the women's football, the management of football, the coaches. We need to get that going. If you look at the number of coaches we've had over the last 20, 30 years, it's more or less the same coaches that's been recycled. It's just recently we've had a new wave of coaches, the Nixon, myself, coming in and trying to get in and contribute to the football. But what are the programs available currently to help us to get to the next level? Level 1, level 2, level 3 courses. So these are the things that the FA is looking into currently to get in players to, you know, not just the players, but the coaches, the medical staff, trainers, you know, all the different parts that you need to move forward. But we cannot do it without the support of local sponsorship. And we're right at this moment, we're making a plea to have local sponsors come on board and see the value of contributing. I mean, look at what Kirani is doing right now, for example. He's not playing football, but look at what he's achieving. Imagine Grenada getting to a World Cup. You know, that is our
dream. Dream.
To me, it's not a difficult dream because you look to the south, you see Trinidad would have done it. You look to the north, you see Jamaica would have done it. We've beaten both Trinidad and Jamaica. So why can't we do it? You know, so you know, we just need, as I said, a proper investment, and you know, to hold the GFA accountable for the investment that you're making. I have no problem with that, but we need the investment to move forward.
And of course, you mentioned also like the privateers doing their own football/entertainment thing. Would you encourage more of that just to have the interest in football?
Of course. I mean, more football is being played, the better it is for football. It is wonderful to have all that football being played. Even at the youth level, you have the secondary school tournaments, the primary school tournaments. And I believe that what should happen is the GFA should get some form of association with these competitions and add some structure to it to ensure that it doesn't impact too severely the running of the regular season. It doesn't add to injury to players and so on at critical times. So for example, you cannot have all your national players playing in a Wagiti tournament and you're preparing currently for an international fixture. That does not make sense. You know, so they need to help and partner to help manage and so on and so forth.
You just proposed it right here on Deep. So hopefully you'll take serious consideration what we're proposing right now. Anyway, thanks gentlemen for coming on the show. Folks out there, you know, get one for yourself, get one for your wife, get one for the kids. You know, go out. They have a big game happening February the 22nd, Grenada versus Guyana. You know, go out there and support. You know, wear your colors, just in case you didn't remember, it's Grenada right there. Boom. Right.
And just before we run off, if there is anybody who's interested in retailing these or just want one or you're trying to get some, you can always call the office or you can contact me personally at 445-8080.
And you know the office number? Is it the office?
The office number does not come.
All right, look for it. Look for it.
440-9903.
440-9903. All right, and your number again?
405-8080.
405. Oh, that one easy.
Yeah.
Just to let Grenada know, in the not too distant future, the Anthony Modeste Soccer School will be on stream.
All right.
Nice.
Yeah, they think they're playing with a man on the team still. All right, so thanks again, guys, for coming on the show. All right,
Thank
best
you
of
very
luck
much.
in all of your ventures here this year. All right, and I hope it grows even further past 2012.
Thank you.
All right, then. Yes, folks, that has been representatives from the GFA. You know, big things for football. Every time we spoke about football, has been big things for football. So let's hope it actually happens. You know, let's hope they execute as well. All right.